Okay, we're on to our next lesson. One of the things I've discovered in running chess tournaments for 10 years, seeing young scholastic players, is they know how the pieces move and they can play an entire game, but they don't know how to finish off an opponent. And so what we're going to work on here is how to put somebody in checkmate with a queen and a king against a lone king. So it should be overwhelming force to allow the king and queen to be able to put someone in checkmate. But you'd be surprised how many people haven't absorbed that yet. So we're going to learn how we do that. For black, in this instance, which is just going to be the one piece for our illustration, you want to hope that the queen, the player who has the queen, is not paying attention and puts it within one square of the king so he can capture it while under check. Otherwise, they're likely to suffer a loss. So I don't really care where I put the king. I'm going to put it here for now. So in white's first move, and this is going to be true for the game in general, you want to control as much space as you can and limit your opponent so that they play in a cramped position. So if you can look at the board in terms of a quadrant, I'm going to eliminate with this very first move three quarters of the board, and I'm going to do that by moving the queen up on this turn. And so now what's happening is the king can no longer move over here because he would be in check. The queen controls all of these squares, and even the diagonal. So now the king, the object, if I was black, is I want to remain as close as I can to the opponent, to the queen, because I'm hoping that that person doesn't know how to put people in checkmate. So I'm going to move here, hoping that that person doesn't know how to do it. Now, what I want to do is I can either start cutting off ranks and putting them on the back line, and I think for this illustration I will. So I'm just going to move back here, and so now I've limited him or this opponent to the last three ranks of the board. And so now the king has got to make a decision. Do I move backward? Do I move to the side? Whichever he does, I'm going to try to eliminate more space from him. And so let's just say it was the person played here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is white. I definitely don't want to put my queen right next to the king, even though the queen would be checking the king. In this instance, again, I'm going to take away more space. And so I'm going to take away all of this board back and leave basically two ranks for the king to move to. Now the king is hoping that I don't know what I'm doing, the black king, and so let's say that the king wants to try to stay close to the white queen and hope that the queen makes a mistake. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to eliminate more space, and so I'm just shifting over, and now you notice there's what, a total of a total of 6 squares, really 5, 4. There's really only a couple of squares that the king cannot move to, so the king has got to make a decision, and so I'll just move it there to try to stay close. Again, I'm going to take more space away, so now king cannot move into the line of fire for the queen here, or the diagonal. So now the king has got to do something else. What is it going to do? Let's say I move back. All right, now as the white queen, I want to take away more space, and so what I'll do is I'll cut off more space by moving it over here. So now he's on the back rank, and he only has just these squares to go. So the king, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to stay close to that white queen. That's my only hope, is that the person doesn't know what they're doing. But I do, and let's just say that the king is here. So now I'm going to take this turn to pick up a tempo, forcing the king to move, and I'll take even more space away. So now it's the king to move. Can't move here, here, or here, because my queen controls it. So he's going to move over here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take more space away. So now the king is left with either this square or this square to move to. So now he's going to move over here. I've got to be careful, because if I moved here, it would be stalemate, since the king couldn't move anywhere for a legal move, and so it's stalemate. It would be a draw. So I know this. So the king moved over, and now I'm going to march this king down to finish him off. And so the king, black king, is just dancing, and I continue to get closer, kind of like a snake and a mouse, I guess. And now I can either move here for checkmate or here for checkmate. The king can't capture the queen because she's protected by the king. And so you've just seen, for the first exercise, how to put someone in checkmate. And that's something that a lot of players struggle with, scholastic players, because they know how the pieces move, but they don't know how to put people away. And so there you go.